Hey everyone! Today we are going to be working on slope and finding slope from a table and from a graph. So we're going to start with finding them from a table. And we have to remember our handy dandy slope formula, which is change in y over change in x. So given this table, we have 4 coordinates. We really only need 2. Why we're given 4? Because I can. But, so I'm going to pick these 2 coordinates right here, 1, 5, and 4, 14, just because 23 is a big number that I don't feel like dealing with, and negatives complicate things. So, change in y. Again, I don't like dealing with negatives, so I'm going to pick the bigger number first. So I'm going to do 14 minus 5. So that's going to leave me with 9. And then we have 4 minus 1, which is 3. 9 divided by 3 is 3. So we have a slope of 3 for this one. For this next one, this one has a lot of negatives in it. I'm not going to be able to avoid the negatives, and that's fine. That just means you have to be consistent with what numbers you pick and the order that you do them. So I'm going to pick these 2 numbers here for mine. So we have our change in y, which is, I'm going to go this way, so negative 2 minus 2. And then for our x, I'm going to go negative 1 minus negative 3. Now you have to be careful of your negative rules and your integer rules, but negative 2 minus 2 is negative 4, and negative 1 minus negative 3 is 2. So then you're left with a slope of negative 4 divided by 2. When you simplify it, is negative 2. So then for this last one, I'm going to pick, sorry, my phone's dying. I'm going to pick these 2 numbers here, these 2 coordinates. So I'm going to start with our change in y. 1 minus 0, and then 4 minus 2. So I'm left with 1 over 2. So our slope is 1/2. So that's it for our table practice. Now, just like the videos before, I'm going to encourage you to pause the video, try some on your own, and then give my answers a try and see how they work. So now we're going to be going from a graph. Now with graphs, you can continue to use the change in y over change in x formula because you can just pick a couple points out of here. Now, granted, I wouldn't pick a point like this one because, yeah, while that looks like it could be 1/2 2, it might not be perfect. So I would definitely make sure you pick points that are exactly on the coordinate grids. So for this one, if we do it the change in y over change in x, I'm going to use this point here and this point here. So for this one, our y value, actually, I'm going to start with this one up here. So our y value is 3. And then it changes to 1. Our x value starts at 1 and goes to 0. So our slope ends up being 2 over 1, or 2. Now, another way you can do this, that especially if you're a visual person like I am with graphs, you can see this very easily. Always remember rise over run, but you can see that if you start at your starting point, at any point really, with where it hits perfectly on the crosshairs, you can see it goes up 2 over 1. Just like our change in y over change in x. Up 2 over 1. And it works every time. So you can use either way. I'm going to go through these and do the change in y over change in x for all of them and check it with this way up this way. Ooh, my words. Checking it with this visual trick. So this one is a little hard just because there's not many points that fit perfectly on the grid, but we have one that fits perfectly right here, and we have one that fits perfectly right here. So we have 5, 5, and we have 1, 2. So my change in y was going to be 5 minus 2, and our change in x is 5 minus 1. So our slope is 3/4. And we can check that by it goes up 3 over 4. Up 3, can't check past that, but it works. Alright, so this one gives the coordinates for us, or some that works. So we have 0, 4, and 3, 10. So my change in y goes from 10 to 4. And it goes from 3 to 0. So we're left with 6 over 3. And when you simplify that, you get 2, which is the same as 2 over 1. So you can check it by going up 2 over 1. That works. Up 2 over 1. And it keeps working. Now this last one, we have, this one is 5, 5. And this one is negative 5, 5. Now, I want you to tell me if this is a zero slope or an undefined slope. I want you to pause the video and actually think about it, because I've seen a lot of you get confused, and I also got tripped up on this a lot when I was in school. So I want you to think about it and try and rationalize what your reason is, and then unpause the video. All right, so let's do this with the slope formula. So our change in y is 5 minus 5. Our change in x is 5 minus a negative 5. 5 minus 5 is 0. But 5 minus negative 5 is 10. 0 divided by anything is 0. So this is a zero slope. Now, if these had been switched so that it was 10 minus 0, or not minus, 10 divided by 0, then we would have an undefined slope. An undefined slope is when it goes completely straight up and down like that. That's a horrible line, but you get the picture. But that is my lesson, my little mini lesson on slope for today. Have a good day.